questions. We'll alternate between me reading and you speaking, and maybe we'll make Ermina hold on to the mic to make sure you can't go up too much.
Good afternoon. My name's Debbie Deese. I am a third-generation rancher farmer in the area. My parents have about 1,000 acres. We go through an easement, so it's never that we will have events on our property because we butt up against the BLM land. But to give you an example, on that 1,000 acres, depending on how things fit in around here and everything, we run a 50-cow calf operation up there. In talking to my folks, they kind of laughed at me, because I said, you know, Dad, Mom, none of us ever went into business with you because we figured that the operation could not afford 2 families, and they said, you're right. And so a lot of people say, well, the farmer just has to learn how to be a better farmer. I resent that, my folks resent it in the respect that we're stewards of our property, but we also have to find a way to be able to make ends meet. So my question is this: ag land is ag land. How can you sit here and say, well, this winery or this historical place is any different and will have less damage? Please, Ms. Prosciutto.
The proposal is going to create 4 to 5 new sources of potential income for families such as yourself. And I don't think you have to be a better farmer. I want to make that clear. I have the utmost respect for farmers and ranchers. So the idea is that these proposals will create 4 to 6 new types of businesses that you could have and hold on your farm to help you stay ranching. They would allow you to have a farm stay, a dude ranch,
No, I'm on an easement. We can't get people up there to do that kind of stuff, and a lot of other people can't. So you're coming up with suggestions that aren't realistic.
Well, how would you be able to get people up there for events?
I'm not saying you would, but there's a lot of places where that's not realistic. And that's, you know, you can come up with suggestions and ideas, but it's not realistic for the economy here and the ranchland.
I would suggest a few other items, and this is going to harken back to some of what Mr. Christie said. I mean, I'm out when I'm not doing this, and I'd much rather be in my garden, just like my neighbor here. I'm out promoting farm-to-school programs throughout the country, throughout the county and in our state. I'm out there trying to promote food policy council so that we can look at economic engines for our local agriculture. And I think there are many, many tools that are available to us as a county where we could end up making agriculture more profitable and ag tourism a bigger draw.
Okay, I can understand that, and I'll be quiet, but I doubt with the amount of broccoli or whatever that's grown here, there are a lot of children that you're going to talk into growing broccoli, so you're going to have to change the farmer's outlook on what they produce. I mean, there's a lot of things that are produced here in the county that are these children going to eat it, or is this just something that you're coming up with to say this will work? What's wrong here?
Thank you.
Appreciate that there's a lot of passion and interest behind this. We're going to continue to move on to some of the questions that are directed. This one is for Jackie Crabb from the Farm Bureau. Does the Farm Bureau support requiring on-site commercial agriculture as a prerequisite to your special events?
Yes, the original draft that went before the Planning Commission had to require an agricultural verification letter from the Agricultural Commissioner, and in it, it did say that the farmer rancher had to have 90 to 95% of their production or their land in production agriculture, and had to continue that with maybe a 1 or 2 year gap depending on weather and other circumstances. And there was a maximum of 5 acres for the event use. So there was that in place, and that is what we were looking for defining what secondary and incidental means. It is our interpretation. It is the Ag Commissioner's interpretation.
Okay, thank you. We're going to go for another question from the audience.
Hello? Hello? Can you hear this?
Yes.
My name is Roy Parsons. I was a businessman in San Luis Obispo most of my working life until I became a rancher about 20 years ago, a small rancher. And I ended up getting on the board of the Cattlemen's Association. And I have a small ranch, so this doesn't affect me a lot like it does other cattlemen. But I would like to tell you that the cattlemen they represent a rather significant portion of landowners in this county. And I was one of the original people on the Ag Tourism Workshop. And let me tell you, if I can, in more layman's language, how we got where we are. Because I don't think I received a good explanation of that from the dais. The Ag Commissioner of this county and the Planning Department needed to update their regulations and rules for events, and we were asked, the 20 or so of us who were on this original workshop were asked to form and come up with some ideas. And that's what we basically did. It was hard for us to reach consensus on a lot of issues, that's true. And it went from what we had, the ideas that we had then went through the normal democratic process of going to the Ag Liaison people, and I went to several of those meetings. And incidentally, I should tell you, there are other people in the audience here who were on this Ag Tourism original workshop as well as myself. I'm not the only one here. But anyway, the Ag Liaison people kind of footballed this thing around and didn't really come up with any concrete ideas, I don't believe either. And the whole process then ended up back with the Planning Department. And the Planning Department, through Karen Nall, who is one of the people in the dais today, came up with her proposal of what would be the ordinance. And then the Ag Tourism Coalition came onto the scene. Basically, some ladies from the Adelaide area that had their own ideas of what should happen.
We need a question.
Okay, well, anyway, can I get back to just real quickly?
Well, we would prefer questions if possible. We understand that
well,
these are
okay,
all
if you
worthwhile
just want a question, and I'd also like to give you a statement after the question. But the question is, when I read the outline, it didn't matter whether you looked at Kim Pasquiota's, the Ag Tourism Coalition's idea, or the Planning Department's idea. Take a rodeo, for example. Cattlemen are interested in rodeos. Creston has rodeos. Templeton Livestock Market has rodeos. The public is invited. There are fees involved. Is that a commercial event, or is that something that local cattlemen should be able to go out and do pretty much as we've been doing? So what I'm saying is, to you people, where would you put a rodeo?
Okay, question. Oh, there. Thank you. Who wants to handle the rodeo answer the question? Kim? And then let me ask Karen first. Since currently, if someone wanted to have a rodeo.
Very good question.
Okay.
Under this proposal, it may qualify as an ag event. However, you have to have the cattle on site. So, and you have to have a primary ag use on site. So for the Creston rodeo site, I don't believe that site would qualify as having primary ag.
Give you a chance, 1 minute.
I'll keep it really short. That particular rodeo will probably come up and be considered in the area of rural recreation. That's a whole subject that hasn't come forward yet, and wouldn't have the limitation of an underlying ag use as a requirement.
Let me get to another. See, I can read these quicker without statements. These are all good questions, and we do appreciate your commentary as well, and we're glad that you're here. Tell me exactly how much it'll cost for a non-profit event over 2,000 people, and how long the permit process will take. And I guess we're looking at the. Karen, do you want to comment first?
Nonprofits under this current proposal would not require a permit. They would file basic paperwork that shows that the site can accommodate the amount of people, and there would be no fee.
Okay. More questions from the audience, and we'll continue to alternate. Ermina will come. Okay.